Service Lines community. How y'all doing today? Brother Doug, what's up, man?
Morning, Zach.
How you
Morning,
doing?
EJ. I'm doing good.
EJ, we got Adam. Good morning, guys. Good to see you.
We actually had spring weather here in Connecticut, so it made me feel like the snowstorm isn't going to come, the one that just completely demoralizes you before spring really appears. So it was a good weekend for us. I was outside.
You have spring. We went from spring to freaking winter, like someone saw a cop. So
yeah, that cold day morning will take your spirit away a little bit. But I try never to do New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the year. So I try to trick myself. If I do them in like March, then if I fail, it wasn't a New Year's resolution. But I'm going to try to get out there, be a little active, be like Zach. I like it in the wintertime when you're in that basement riding a stationary bike, pretending you're on the road, getting all excited. Do you like pretend someone yelled at you and you look back? You know, what inspires you to keep going there, Zach?
This year, nothing. It was
Nothing?
a terrible season. So it was a struggle just to get out of bed this year. Seasonal depression hit pretty hard this year.
Yeah. Those guys like Mark Kelly and Gary Rima, all in beautiful, West Coast tropical locations. Whatever, people.
Adam said it snowed by him yesterday. It is going to be a high of 37 today. So we went the other direction. Good morning, Eddie. Yeah, I got a bunch of these. They finally got done. I'm super excited. Pink Hair Roofer. Let's go.
Sit.
Harrison Howard. What's up?
So we're talking taxes today. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. No, we're talking balance today, right?
Oh.
And we actually each have a different approach to balance. So this should be a fun discussion. I think there's a lot of people out there that try and force one thing. They try and force balance to be, it's always got to be like this. I don't think that's a realistic expectation, and neither do you. And so we each have our different approach to the way that balance is going to go. So I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. Yeah, Siberia for you. Be quiet, Miami. Get out of here. Want to pray us in, and then we'll dig into this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know how the next hurricane goes, Saul. Just kidding, buddy. I love you, Saul. Morning, Lord. It's us again. It's a Monday. We are. Some of us are jumping at the gun to try to get the day started, the week started, the month started, the new quarter almost started. Some of us, Lord, are in this period of wondering if we're in the right place, if this is the right time. And there's some, Lord, that are wondering, it's okay, talking them through it, saying it's okay to step away, to stop, to pivot, to turn in different directions. Lord God, this is how every day works for us. We're visual people. We see and feel things a certain way, and that motivates and drives us in our personal lives and our businesses, with our families and with our friends. So God, what's the best way to handle this thing that's almost out of our control, which is our visual, or the way we visualize life and based on our feelings? Lord, we can do that with goal setting, and we can do that with organization. But truly, truly the best way is calling you into our lives and into our businesses to guide us and to show us the way. Lord, businesses and lives are filled with peaks and valleys, but to know that you're there at both of those points should bring great comfort to us. So help us put you first in our lives, put you first in our businesses and in our relationships, Lord, and guide us through these journeys, and let us be lights to the world And Lord, let our prosperity be measured by all that you give us in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Sorry, my desk is just a little off kilter. I'm adjusting it.
Is that an ADHD thing?
It is.
Okay. All right, cool. Zach's been teaching me on ADHD. I didn't realize how many of those people are in my life. I think it's a blessing. I just prayed about it. It's a blessing to have you weird people in my life. Helps me understand better and react properly. So, is your desk okay now?
It's good. We're good.
Okay, good.
We're good.
You send me these ADHD memes all week long, and it's hilarious. I can't relate to a single one of them, but it's cute. So
that's what happens between me and my wife and I. We just send reels back and forth to each other. Like that's our love language. We communicate in reels and GIFs. So
sure,
it happens.
So when you sent me that one of the dog taking a crap on the sidewalk, what was the message there that you're trying to tell me?
Doug, it's time to clean the yard.
Okay. That's funny. That's funny.
Oh, man almighty. So talking balance, right? So I guess we can just introduce each of our thoughts on balance, and then we'll kind of discuss, down through what each of those look like as we kind of process through. So why don't you share first, and then I'll share the way that I
because you'll often you'll have a topic kind of prepared the night before, the morning of, and we start to think it through. And instantly, when you talked about balance, I was thinking about diet and food, and then I read further, and you meant balance in our business life as well as home. And so for me, the way I imagine it is being in charge of a team of people in a business. It's a bunch of spinning plates, that I'm either responsible for personally, which they're bigger and heavier plates, or plates that teammates have, but they're all, I'm holding them all and trying to keep them going, either inspiring a teammate to stay on track or to hit their goal, or to make sure, whatever I'm in charge of gets out there. I feel like there's a moment where you can have too many plates. And when that happens, plates start to break. And what I visualize as breaking plates are goals that I set, or things that I thought I know are important, but I didn't put enough time into them, and they fail or they derail. And you know what happens? I get very deflated and discouraged, and I know that it's a problem, and I put it aside and I leave it alone until I have enough capacity to pick it back up. If that's a person in my team or a customer, that's bad. So I realize, and I kind of know how many plates with the little stick that I can spin. And do I want it to spin perfectly balanced? Yes. But most of the time, some are doing well and some aren't. And so that's the way I visualize a balanced business, knowing my limits and knowing that things can break if I'm not careful.
That's awesome. And the way that I look at balance, like I shared before, very visual, right? So a lot of people think of balance as just like, I got to have my work-life balance, and it's got to be like this, and there has to be equal time, and it always has to be equal, and it's the only way to do it. And it's a very rigid mindset, which I automatically struggle with. Rigid mindsets. I like a little bit of a flexible mindset. And I view balance more like this, right? Like anyone who's ever done any sort of balance work, right? When you're balancing, it's more like a teeter-totter. You have this back and forth, and you're looking at it over the long term, where the amount of time over the long term averages out, but it's never really perfectly stationary. It's always in flux, but you get those times where each is balance, whether it's work or life or whatever, right?
A perfectly balanced teeter-totter probably means that you're not taking on anything more. You're just probably doing just enough, and you're very comfortable in that zone. And I don't know if that's a great place to be as a business, because everything's changing all the time, right?
I don't like
Interesting.
comfort zones. I don't like comfort
Interesting.
zones at all. We talked about that in the
Interesting.
pre-roll, but
Wow. Yeah. That's a
yeah.
pretty cool outlook there. So that means that whether your little one's now becoming a teenager and invested in some sort of high school or college sport, now you've got to devote some time there and take it from this side. And there's going to be seasons. It's a very, I like your approach. It's pretty interesting.
So the examples, right? So the best way to do that, I shared in the pre-roll that Thursday or Friday, it was Thursday. So I was out and I was working all day. I had a bunch of meetings and I had some estimates set, and I had a chance. My plumber called up a couple of his neighbors, and I had a chance to go and get myself in front of a couple more people. And I called my wife and I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be at this, field trip thing to the hobby store with the kiddo, but I'm out here and I have a chance, which in the roofing business, this can translate into thousands of dollars, right?
Mm.
And I said, I feel like I just need to set these while I'm out here, and then we'll spend some extra time throughout the weekend or something like that. And she's like, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. We know what the season we are in. We know where the teeter totter is within it. And I think that's what's most important, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your teammates, like make sure they understand, make sure there's good communication. My wife knows the reality of where we are. She knows the season. We've done this
Mm.
before. And she knows that when it's time to plant and harvest, much like farmers,
Mm.
when it's plant and harvest time, it's all hands, right? You're in the field, you're working, you're doing the things that you have to do because the off season is coming, right? You have that seasonality. So we're setting a storm right now, trying to get the money while we can, knowing that there's going to be a lot of downtime coming. So do the work now so that when there isn't work, you've already stored up a little bit for the future.
Yeah.
And it comes to that good communication. I think appliance repair is not really any different, right? We were kind of talking about that ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have these seasons, and at least in the northern climate, it's pretty much like Labor Day, maybe a little bit after Easter, but more or less it was always kicking off right around Labor Day or Memorial Day in May. And it kicks off and it runs till Christmas time. And
Sure.
then you kind of die off for those 3, 4, 5 months, depending. There's work, but it's slower
Mhm.
than the busy season. And I understand the South is different. You guys are like super busy in the winter and a little bit slower in the summer months, but you have that planting and harvesting season. So are you taking advantage of it during that time?
Mm.
How does that work? So that's kind of my take on the balance, is being prepared during those seasons to take advantage of what's going on.
So you kind of have to be flexible, but did you really put that one up? I just
I
thought
did. It is pretty funny. My hair is indeed an illusion. It
I
is
saw
all.
you talking. I saw you see the comment. You kind of smirked a little bit, and then I was like, "Well, I'm impressed. He's not going to post it." Saul didn't get to you, but he did. No, it's you got to be kind of knowing where you're heading, though. Like if you're just a boat in the wind, just wherever the wind is taking you, that's very different than what you're talking about. You're talking about being strategic, knowing that there's a slow season, and so that means that you need to commit to things that are relevant to your daughter in this situation, right? And other opportunities may surprise you, but you at that moment have to choose your daughter over that opportunity at times, right? And so you can't just I'll work as hard as I have to work when it's busy, and then when it's slow, you got to have a plan. You got to know what you're going to do in your slow season. You have to be prepared. So
Yep. Yeah, and again, you know, I was my brother-in-law's house. We were getting the roof on him this past weekend, and I got to see my nephew and I got to see my daughter and I got to spend some time with my wife. They came out while the build was going on and we were spending a little bit of time together. So again, there's that teeter-totter of balance. I'm working, but they came and spent time with me. You know what I mean? Like, so you go back and forth through that. So from your perspective, so we've talked a lot about like how I rock back and forth. How do your spinning plates work? How has that experience worked for you throughout your business career?
Well, certainly when it's the slower time of year, or even before that happens, I start to tell myself I've got to get in the mindset to think about that time of planting and what do we want to try to accomplish. And you can do all the dreaming you want, and you can put it on paper, and you can look at your team, and you can build out time, time blocks on how it's going to all happen. But the reality is things can get in your way. People and vendors and things could challenge you, and you kind of have to learn when to give up, to just take the plate down, or say, hey, I'm probably gonna fail in a couple of these other areas. At the very least, I better communicate with those people and tell them, hey, this is what's going to happen, I think. And if so, I'm aware. I hope you are too. We'll pick this up again at another time.
So you're talking about intentionally taking that dish down and trying to put it in the cupboard before it breaks.
Yeah, because there's an employee that's sitting there going, well, he said he was going to do this, or he action said they were going to begin this thing, and I was pretty good at doing that, screwing up, and not hitting those promises that were made in my own mind, justifying. That's what you do on the weekend. That's what you do when you're driving home. You're like, man, if only they knew how hard it is or what kind of crap has been going on. But whatever. And I guess that whatever means they better accept it. But the better that you're impeccable with your word and communicating it, believe it or not, what ends up happening the last couple of years is some of those people who were anticipating whatever we were going to do, I let them know, hey, since I had to let this person go, I've got to put my energy there. They're like, you know what? I've got a couple good ideas. When we relaunch it, I want to help you with that. And awesome. Now I've got some teammates. Now I've got some buy-in instead of employees being consumers of what's about to roll out. They want to be a part of the process of making it. And that's great. And that's a lot of fun too. So,
yeah, I really like that. And I think no matter which view resonates with your brain, right? Whether it's Doug's spinning plates, because they're both very visual. Doug's spinning plates are my teeter-totter going back and forth. Like the basis to find that balance point, to find that, I love this. His therapist calls it harmony, right? That harmony within your business and life.
Yeah.
However you find that, it starts with communicating very clearly, being impeccable with your word, as you said, Doug. Communication is key to make balance happen, right? I communicated with my wife. You're communicating with employees, like having that open line of communication going, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we're looking at. As things are in flux, people are able to kind of move with the direction you're going. So communication is key when you're trying to find balance. What are some of the other things? Go ahead.
Joe brings up a great point. And I don't know. I feel like I don't know what year this happened, but I'm usually the oldest person in the room nowadays at 54. But we just take our bodies and our mental health for granted because you can. And I don't know. It was probably in my 30s that I started noticing if I had too many things on my plate, I was forgetful, or a little aggravated, at times. And I used to never get frustrated or aggravated. Those are all signs that you're doing too much or that you don't have a great process. So going to the doctor, man, going to the doctor and getting a checkup. I can imagine someone telling me that, 15 years ago, and I'm like, yeah, I know. But we hear the stories, man. We know that stuff happens, and it's just best to take care of our bodies and our minds, because when you start planning for the future instead of just working hard, what's in front of me? How much money can I make? What can I build today and tomorrow? When you start thinking 6 months and a year and 5 years down the road, you got to start thinking about your health, because you want to be there to enjoy it, to celebrate whatever you're trying to achieve. So thanks for bringing it up, Joe. I'll schedule my colonoscopy this week. I made it a goal. So first one ever. They changed the date on that thing, like how old. And so like over the year, and I didn't go every year to the doctor for a physical. So I just kind of missed it. And I would just be going, well, that's cool. I get to avoid that catastrophe, but I got to go. So thanks, Joe. I meant to put that down as a goal for this week. I'm going to schedule that appointment. I'll update you guys on Monday if I follow through or not. Not how
it's
it
important. I mean, really, it is important to make sure that your body is in check. And I think that's the most important part of balance, right? Like if the engine that runs our day, right, our body is not in tune, is not running optimally, it's really hard to do anything else, right? So think about it. When you're sick, right, and your head is all it's really hard to focus and do what you have to do throughout the day, right?
Yep.
And so, like, whether it's exercise, eating right, going to the doctor, getting, go see a chiropractor. If you guys that are out there doing service calls, if you haven't gone to see a true chiropractor, go see the chiropractor. Get an adjustment. Get that posture kind of a little more in line. Get things moving, and you'll be able to kind of have a little more balance throughout the day. You'll be able to make better decisions because your body is running at a better pace.
Listen, with the spinning plate thing, your health is a plate. And so what happens when you're super busy? Don't even go there, Zach. I can see it.
He's saying how old he is. He's saying he's older than you. He's done it more times than you have.
I don't know if that's what Saul means there, but
that's how everything's
backhanded with him. He says he loves me, but I don't see it here on the morning grind. But that's certainly one of those plates that's kind of what I consider small in my life, because I don't want to put a lot of energy into it. And what's the first thing that goes for many of us over the years was fast food. Saying I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to take the time to, or the money to spend. It's dumb excuses, isn't it? Because your heart and your cholesterol and your body, it's taking a toll for the long run. So if you're 35 or younger, you're probably already doing it. Seems like this younger generation is a little bit smarter than Rob Jones' generation for sure. But definitely, eat healthy for sure.
Y'all are the same generation. I just want to remind you of that.
Who, Rob?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He has that face tattoo on his forehead, so that makes him seem like he's a little hipper than me, but he's older than me.
You guys are both Gen X.
It's weird. It's weird.
Just embrace that you're Gen X.
So he had the LG logo branded on his. Now he has Samsung. So it's a very weird thing. If you ever see Rob, the face tattoo is a little off-putting for a moment, but you can get through it.
Oh goodness. So how else are we finding balance throughout the day? Like, how else are we in flux? Is there are you learning in your finances how to find some balance, right? So that was one of the things I shared about people talking about balanced portfolios and this, that, and the other thing. And how does that work? Are you planning for the future? Are you setting something aside for retirement? Are you, looking towards those lean years where, our bodies are getting older? We aren't going to be able to treat them like a rodeo for a long time. And so are we setting something aside to maybe pass down to the next generation or prepare for the times when we can't work? I think that's an important part of balance too. And I'm starting to learn that myself, right? So.
Yeah. If you do it very early, in your early 30s, late 20s, it's not that hard to do after. But so how about the type A personalities, which is, I think, a bunch of owners that we might know out there, that it's got to be your way, and that you kind of have to put your stamp of a seal on everything. And the reality is that's hard to create balance if you've got control or hands in every aspect of it. And so if you can communicate clearly what you're trying to achieve with something, and you can give it to someone on your team, it's doing a whole bunch of things. And it's empowering them, it's investing them, it's helping you, it's growing your business, it's developing a potential leader in your company. And guess what? It helps in the balance of overall if you can get trusted partners in your company to help you through those things.
Inside or outside your company, either way, I think that is a great part of balance, is making sure. I had an email back and forth with your bookkeeper, right? She's staying in tune with me, and we had a quick conversation via email over the weekend. Hey, here's where the targets are. Here's where I'm in my standing. I'm still watching the bank account going like this. I'm waiting for it to start going like this, and it's coming. But we just had a quick discussion. Okay, keep me in the loop. Here's where I want to kind of see you making some changes. And so that's not someone that I'm directly employing, but it is someone that will become a partner within my business realm, to help me stay on track. Because I know, finances wise, like, I don't find enjoyment in tracking receipts and balancing books and sending crap to my CPA. That makes me want to curl in a ball in a corner and cry. And so, like, bringing people in that can strengthen your weakness. One of the first lessons that I did learn, and I wish I would have found better partners in this, but get a bookkeeper, get an accountant. Don't mess with that. Make sure you have a good bookkeeper and a good accountant, because they are two very different things for your business.
Sure.
A good bookkeeper is going to help you go, hey, listen, like, you got some holes in your budget or whatever here. And a good accountant is going to go, hey, so for tax planning, we want to kind of do some things like this. And the two of them in harmony can really help you make a good strategic plan. So those are
I guess it's no surprise, like a football team will have several coaches on it, because you need that input, someone who's digging in deep on the offense or the defense. I mean, it's safe to say possibly that those conversations you're having with the bookkeeper kind of maybe even subconsciously directed you to go, yeah, let me go take a look at those two jobs, and let me move the field trip to another time, because you've kind of got that North Star focus of I'm trying to get my bank account to be here, and we're here. And just, it's amazing how it empowers you without you even consciously thinking of it. So those inner circle partners that are outside your company are big lifts for you.
Yeah, and I just said that to say it's not and or. So if you're a one-man shop, right, and you need a VA, right, you need a personal assistant to do something that's kind of virtual and they're not there all the time, or you need a bookkeeper that's remote, or a CPA that checks in on a regular basis, like, it's okay to bring that in. You don't have to employ everyone. You might be able to employ via via a contract or something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
When you get to a size where you have more employees, you have to do the same thing, right? You have to bring these people along in your team. And how do we go back and forth? And sometimes, at that point, you are the coach, right? You are the one kind of guiding the way that works. And I think an important part of that is helping your teammates find balance as well, right?
Mhm.
You probably more than anyone are trying to talk with your team to go, hey, like we
Mhm.
need some balance here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the one leading that charge.
Yeah. Last couple books that we've all been reading together help me be aware that sometimes people that are on my team, they're not quite getting it, or they're
Mm,
falling short in whatever they're working on. And my instinct is to be like, okay, yeah, give it to me. It's almost there. I'll finish it. I'll take care of it. No, that was pretty good. A little off, but I'll take care of it. And now all of a sudden, I've got 5 more plates that are 94% done. And now whose fault is it that it doesn't
mhm.
get finished? So I just last week I used that exercise for the first time ever. Someone said, I've got a request for you. All right, why don't you create like a proposal for me? And they came back with like basically 3 sentences, and it didn't explain enough. It didn't cover all the aspects. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I'm thinking to myself, I guess I wasn't impeccable in my word. I guess I should explain what proposal means next time, but I'll do it. And then I knew that was the wrong thing to do. So I called her back in and I said, you know what? I'm so sorry. I do want a proposal. Let me tell you what it's like, what I want in it. And now it was a mini book. It was pretty impressive. So I've got a better understanding. So I got to stop taking this stuff on because I'm frustrated that other people aren't doing it the way I want it to be done, and just keep coaching them and let them finish it. So that helps me with my balance as well.
It's communication. We keep coming back to it. If you
Yeah.
want balance, learn how to communicate better. Like that is just such an important piece.
It's hard.
And how do you learn to communicate better? Like
Yeah.
Doug just shared, it's practice.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen by like, hey, I want to be a better communicator, and all of a sudden you're a better communicator.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. It happens by, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Crap. No, that's not how I'm supposed to handle that. Hey, here's how you actually, do a proposal, and here's what I'm looking for, and here's what right. That's practice. Guys, get out there, put in the reps, practice. It's just like anything else. You
Imagine
have
that.
to
Imagine
do
that.
it more and more time.
Who would have thought, right? Yeah, I want to start a business and I'm going to have to practice, how to communicate properly. I mean, as I say it, of course you do, but you don't think that way when you're on a blank canvas and you're ready to try to make something happen. You're not thinking that through. So
and I've been getting experience in that, like working with the owner of 3JM. How do you become a better sales rep? Well, go knock on 200 doors and get it slammed in your face, 150 times, right? Like you're going to get better at what you're doing the more that you do it. So if you want 3 years of experience in a short amount of time, do a lot of reps really quickly and you're going to get that experience. Want to get better at communicating? Get out there and communicate more and more and more and more and more. The more you do that, the faster you're going to get better at communicating. So how fast do you want to grow your business? How fast do you want to scale it? How fast do you want to lead a team? Go practice more. If you're sitting on the sidelines and you're not practicing, guess what? You're not going to get those reps in, and it's going to be a lot longer ramp for you to get better at that. So get out there and communicate.
I think the trick here,
Balance, communicate, delegate, and prioritize.
You know what?
Can't even.
Saul looked that up on Google. He does not know these things. Come on now.
You can't summarize it any better than that, though.
No, Saul, I've talked to him a bunch of times. He's a very wise person, and I appreciate you, Saul. How about this before we go? I feel like this is what I've been doing really well for the last few years. Just telling myself when things don't go right, it's my fault. You got to do that, right? Like, hey, that's a great I think I can do something like that. Why don't you create a proposal for me? And they come back with something that is just I could think a whole bunch of things. Like, they did not put any effort into this. They're just dropping it in my lap, or I can go, I need to communicate that really well next time. So it's your fault all the time. And guess what? When you take that responsibility of being at fault all the time, when instead of you whining and complaining about how everybody around you can't do their job well and that you've got to do it for them, those people end up leaving because they can't stand you, or you end up going with confidence. I don't need this $280,000 of revenue from this guy. He's a cancer to the company. We'll be fine without him eventually. So we don't need him. The clarity that comes from taking responsibility all the time and continuing to work on yourself to communicate better, to follow through better, to do what you say you're going to do. That stuff creates great traction. So
100%. Guys, we hope this was helpful for you. Get out there, get some reps in. Go practice being a better communicator. Go practice delegating. Go practice prioritizing. Any of those things. If you practice those this week, I guarantee you that you're going to find a little bit better balance in your business. And the more you do those things, the better the balance you're going to find. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Morning Grind. Bye, guys.